This is Drop In, Drop Out, the weekly podcast where a mix of 7 gamers come together for an open and engaging conversation all about video games. Tonight, myself and Jerica Hannah, aka Princess Beach herself, are going to be diving into the critical darling Death Stranding 2 on the beach. I'm your host, Patrick, and dropping in this week, the aforementioned Princess Beach. Welcome to the show, Janica. I almost called you Janica.
Hey, that's a pretty name. I'll take it too.
Janica. Is that even
I
a
heard
name?
that. Huh?
I don't even know if Janica is a name. Is it a name?
I've never heard it before, but I'm being called Jessica because it's just so close. And at a glance,
Sure.
like I've had people glance at my name and call me Jerica most of my
Jerica.
life.
How you doing, Jerica?
That's it. And I'm like, well, it's Jerica, but I'm doing great. But Janica. Did we say Janica? Is that what we said?
I said Janica, yeah.
Janica's cool. Yeah,
Janica is kind of fun. A little amalgamation of the first and last.
Ready to Jan it up.
Jerica, you've had a busy, I don't know how many hours are in a week, but you've had a busy last few days. Welcome back.
I am so glad to be back. I'd been traveling the globe. Well, literally, not the whole globe, but at least the whole continent of the United States. I was like Sam Porter Bridges, but I luckily had an airplane on this Air Strand Express and flew to California. I didn't have to walk there, which is nice. But yeah, I went to California, hung out Kind of Funny, reviewed Death Stranding 2. So the last 3 weeks I've been playing that.
Yeah.
And yeah, y'all got to catch up with me so I can finally talk about the ending with somebody. I haven't been able to talk about the ending with somebody.
So tonight, because you have finished the game, this will be Drop In, Drop Out's official review. I'm about 9 hours in. I've been able to put a good amount of time in the last 48. But I mean, I'm still just scratching the surface. I don't know. I think you said it took you like 80-ish to finish.
Yes.
So I have quite a ways to go. But before we get into the show, let us pull the car over for a second and welcome in our hop and chat. We got Coal Mines with the first. We got RDR with the bits. Thank you, RDR. We got Cognitive Clips, having a bit of a crisis of what to call us. Mom and dad, auntie, uncle, co-workers, really whatever you want to call us. As long as it's not a bad word, I accept it. And even some bad words I'll accept. But you know the ones you can't call.
Jeric. Is that our name? Jared? Did I just what?
Jeric?
Jeric, which I know 2 Jerics, so that's not as cool as Janica. But
maybe our dual name is Janica.
That could be it. Yeah.
Not much of my name in there, but that's okay. I don't need it.
We don't need.
We got Eula. We got Gianni. We got the Dan Good Show subscribing. We got Gianni subscribing. We got Sear Shard, and we got Cognitive suggesting Perica. I don't know that I like Perica, respectfully. Patricka.
Okay.
Patricka sounds like a Kojima name.
It does. Or just like a Muppet somewhere. You know,
Ooh, this is something. Gianni with geriatric.
That's it. Please.
That's something.
That's it.
That's something for sure. Well, we have a fun show planned today. Before we get into that, a little housekeeping. We've had some fun things going around. You just mentioned you were over with our friends at Kind of Funny earlier this week doing their review. So if you haven't checked that out, I'm sure if you're listening to this, you have. But if you haven't checked that out, go over to youtube.com/@kindoffunnygames. Find the Gamescast on your favorite podcast service for the Death Stranding 2 review featuring Drop In, Drop Outs, and JK Games' and Clickerbait's Jerica Hannah. Also going on this week, the homie Jake Twitchin doing a little fundraising. What charity is it for, you might ask? It's for himself because he's a selfish son of a gun. But it's because he's trying to replace his PC. So it's a charity that we fully support. He's doing all sorts of streams. He's going to be streaming later tonight, in fact, twitch.tv/Jake Twitchin, or just go to amazingstreamer.com. Check in with him later. I think he's playing Destiny 2, Jerica, just as a little heads up.
I need to catch up.
Sure. And then also this week around the channel, our own Dumpster Boy hosted Spotlight Games talking about Death Stranding 2 and other things. And I was thinking about it, and it is very possible that was the first time that he has actually hosted Spotlight Games. There might have been one hidden in there at some point that I missed, but I think because usually it's me hosting, so that might have been his first hosting. And let me tell you, I haven't finished the episode, but I listened to most of it, and it's really good. It's him and Maury shooting the shit. So go give that a listen, give that a watch, and support the Dumpster Boy. I mean, come on, he deserves it more than most. Also, shout out to Eula in the chat with the subscription, and our own Kayla saying hello, besties from vacation.
She told me she didn't have internet. I'm sorry.
I know.
She's like, I don't have internet. Look at her in the chat from somewhere overseas on a cruise ship or something.
Can I just say, the amount of trust with Kayla backslid immensely this week. Because, yeah, like you said, I was under the impression that she would be off the grid. And I was like, oh, girl, go have a vacation. And she's chiming in every day. I'm like, so where's the lie, Kayla?
She's got a Goombay Smash in hand. I don't know if you've ever been on a Carnival cruise line, but the Goombay Smash is my drink of choice. It makes your girl twerk, let me tell you.
Well, she says she has some internet, but it's VV bad. I'm barely here. I think maybe you're barely here because of the Goombay Smash.
Yes, absolutely.
It seems. Well, Jerica, I am very excited to talk about Death Stranding 2. But before we even do that, I want to take a step back a little bit. I want to start the conversation tonight with a little icebreaker, let's chat about something a little different to get us warmed up for Death Stranding, but not too different. We're going to talk about Kojima and our history with Kojima games, because I'm sure Death Stranding 1 or 2 wasn't our first Kojima joint. So Jerica, what was your first Kojima game? Tell me about your journey with Kojima.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to lick him before I started talking about him. So you would think like I've played every Kojima game, but that is not true. And don't you come at me and call me a fake Kojima fan, because like I have played a few games. Unfortunately, I was too young at the time to start from the beginning, and I just lost interest as a young adult, or maybe even a preteen, or maybe even a child. Like I didn't play 1 or 2, but 3, Snake Eater, Metal Gear Solid 3 was my first Kojima game and experience. And I don't know when that came out. I'm trying to guesstimate my mental state, and did I have a close to an adult brain at that time? I have no idea.
2004.
Okay, so I was probably in middle school then. Yep, middle school, high school, about in that range.
Yeah.
So I just remember liking it. Okay, so I was developing mental taste for games, so maybe that's why I enjoyed it at that moment. And yeah, it was just weird. Like, I don't know. I couldn't tell you what happened in that game, but I thought it was very cool, and I just liked watching it. And I liked sneaking around with a little crocodile hat on. I thought that was neat. So that was my first, and I tried playing Metal Gear Solid 4. It just didn't captivate me as much. I think that's the one where I don't know which version of Snake it was. He's older. Whichever one, he's like older.
I forget what they call him. It's a silly name. It's like Forgotten
Solid
Snake or some shit.
Old Snake, man.
It might just be Old Snake actually, but I feel like there was a more interesting name than Old Snake.
And then I played 5, but I never beat it because it's just too much game, and I also got sort of lost in the story. Not because it's bad, it's just I got pulled from something else, and then I'm like, okay, I forgot where I left off. I don't know what's happening, but I appreciate the gameplay in 5 for sure. Yeah.
Metal Gear, we can be fair and just. Metal Gear Solid 5 story is great until it's terrible. And it's because that's when Kojima left Konami. It's like there's a very clear point in which the game kind of stopped being worked on. But yeah, I have a really weird journey with Kojima. I know I've talked about it on Spotlight. I don't think I've talked about it on Dido before, but I dabbled with Twin Snakes, which is the GameCube remake of the first. But I was so young that like I really don't remember much of it at all. The first Metal Gear game that I played to completion was 4. And I was so fucking confused because what I have talked about on the show before is I didn't ever have PlayStations growing up. And so when I got to college, I bought myself a PS3 with my student loans. And I went on IGN and I was like 10 best PS3 games. I got Uncharted. I got Metal Gear Solid 4. I got Demon Souls. I got all these games. This was pre Last of Us. And I played through it and I was like, what the fuck is going on in this game? But I loved it. It was so fun. It was so cool. I loved the how campy it was.
Yeah.
And then from there, I was like, oh, now I want to play all of them. And there was like a collection that was released at the time. So I played through 1 and 2 and Peace Walker on the Vita. And then by the time I got to 3, I was just like a little burnt out on them. So I didn't
Yeah.
ever play 3. But then 5 came out and I played 5 and I fucking loved 5. But that's probably like a top 20 game for me. The gameplay loop in Metal Gear Solid 5 is just unfucking real. So I've really historically loved Kojima games. And then Death Stranding comes out in 2019 and it just like so deeply does not click with me. I finished it in 2019, but I remember it was like such a slog. I was just like, the walking didn't click for me. And I think because I just didn't really do anything extra, I didn't really get to see I didn't get to settle in the game. Like I looked at my original game clock and it was like 17 hours. Like I really didn't play a lot of the game originally.
Well, it
And
sort
then
of beats you over the head, like with
it
just,
does.
just like some tough, like, I guess, routes to take with really not a lot of resources.
Yeah,
So
for sure. But before I don't want to get too deep into DS1 because that's going to be kind of how we start the conversation. So I want to bring in some chat answers. I saw Cog earlier say his first was MGS2, and then Gianni got the demo disc for MGS2, which I believe, as Cog later says, that I think it was with Zone of the Enders was where the MGS2 demo came in. Because I want to say I might be wrong. I thought Kojima maybe also worked on that, but maybe not. Twin Snake's so good. We got from Cog. Eula says played the intro of the Phantom Pain and never continued. 10 out of 10 intro. I mean, the intro is fucking buck wild in that game.
That was cool, like too, like how like it had so like I'm always excited about like how Kojima is gonna market certain projects. So like that marketing campaign and like the fake out with like having like the wrap around his head and like knowing like who is this guy? Is Kojima? Like it had like he was a top tier marketing troll for that game, and it's just so funny. Yeah, I think there was like an ARG going on with it, and then everybody was like, obviously there's talks about Moby Dick in Death Stranding 2, but the dude likes whales. He likes that story.
Dude
and
loves whales.
There's some lore with some whales and deep down in Kojima, but
yeah, I wonder what that
like,
is.
Yeah, I think I need to revisit the whole announcement for that game because it's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, and then so Sierra's saying his first was maybe Portable Ops, and Kayla's asking what his first game is. I did a quick Wikipedia. There's something called Penguin Adventure that might be his first game, but it seems like Metal Gear was which not Metal Gear Solid, but Metal Gear, which was on the NES or one of those, maybe not the NES, but it was on one of those original consoles.
Yep.
But yeah, so getting into Death Stranding 1, which is how I want to kind of start this, is with our kind of journey of Death Stranding 1 originally. Yeah.
I sort of forgot too. I am playing through the Metal Gear Solid 1. I've been streaming that with my friend Cody.
That's right.
He's been helping me because he is a Metal Gear sicko and like can tell you the beginning to end with the story. And apparently he says he's right about everything. But he has been helping me because I wanted to like revisit those because I'm like, I don't see a remake coming anytime soon for that one. So let me just visit it. So I really want to appreciate Metal Gear Solid 2. So that's why I'm playing the first one because I hear nothing but great things about it, and one day I'll experience it. Sorry, I just remembered that.
No, you're good. I have a theory that they're going to re-release if Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater does well commercially, I have a theory that they're going to re-release all of them as remakes in chronological order. Because if I'm not mistaken, Snake Eater is the first in the timeline.
Yeah, it is.
So that's my theory. And I just came up with it. So fucking lock that in, gamers. But yeah, so Death Stranding 1, I started to mention it just like really didn't work for me. And even though I finished it, I was talking to Cog earlier. I finished that game in 2019, and to jump ahead a little bit, I nearly finished it again right before On the Beach came out. And I've almost finished this game twice, and I could barely tell you the story still. But I've tried so many times before this last time where it actually clicked for me. Like when the director's cut came out, I didn't buy it because I figured eventually it would come on like PlayStation Plus. Once it dropped on
Oh yeah.
PlayStation Plus, I tried it, and then I tried it again several months later after getting the Portal, and I was like, this is just still not clicking for me. But then I think the hype for On the Beach forced me into it working, because this time I don't know what it was, but it really clicked for me. And I had a great time playing through Death Stranding 1. Like I said, I didn't get to finish it. I got very close. I think I had like an hour and a half left. But this was on Tuesday. So it's like, ugh, I need to start 2 for the podcast. So I just watched a like remainder recap situation. But tell me about your experience with 1 originally, because you've always, to my understanding, you've always been a fan of the first game.
I was a fan of Death Stranding from the very first trailer. I was hooked immediately. And I think that I really can't speak to why, other than just being so strange and probably following on my obsession with playable teaser and knowing that that wasn't going to be a thing. But then seeing that trailer and like, oh shit, Norman Reedus is still doing work with Kojima. Like, what the fuck? And like, what is happening on this beach with these crabs and the baby? And like, it was the very first trailer. You should definitely take a look it up on YouTube when it was like first announced. I think it was like the Game Awards, like 2014. Like it took like they announced it like 5 years early. Like it was wild waiting. You get like a new trailer like every couple of years, and it was just as strange. But that first trailer, like I was immediately, oh shit, this looks so cool. I have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't know for a really long time, like
For a
what the
very long
gameplay.
time.
Yeah. Everybody's like, this looks like a cool movie. Um, but yeah, like when we saw gameplay, I was just sort of like, I didn't know how to like feel. I was just still hyped, I guess, because I was like, this is so wacky. I can't wait to see like what this game's about. And I truly think until the moment where everyone got their hands on it on launch day, everyone was still in the same boat. And then I'll do a little shout out to one last thing. The trailer announcing the release date, best fucking trailer. It's like Apocalyptica, which is like this. I'm not even gonna say. I was gonna say Norwegian, but it's not. I don't know. But it's like a violin string metal band, and that song's featured in the first game. But Apocalyptica, that song that plays in that trailer, so good.
Hell yeah. Do you
So
remember,
good.
speaking of the like the reveals of Death Stranding 1, do you remember there was a Twitch live stream
Yep.
for like 24 hours that kept us slowly revealing things?
That was a reveal to that trailer. And I remember I had on my phone like all day. It was just like hands, yeah.
And then it kept like it ended up being part of like a reverse trike, and like Sam kind of driving it a little bit or something like that. But yeah, so fucking weird. Cause yeah, you know what? I'm a little disappointed in Death Stranding 2's release cadence, because when you think of Ground Zeroes leading into Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, and how fucking wacky Kojima was, and then how wacky he was with Death Stranding 1, I feel like we kind of got the short end of the Kojima stick with Death Stranding 2 on the beach. Instead, he just showed us like half the game.
Yeah, it was unique. That's why I really didn't anticipate it to come out this year.
Yeah.
It was weird. Not like the first one, but I'm glad we didn't have to wait I think
Yeah.
we waited just as long, but it didn't feel like that because they weren't like stringing us along.
Yeah.
Anyways, I went down a path. Death Stranding 1. I loved it. It was definitely not the game I anticipated, but I am one of those gamers that really likes just to look at environments already. And when the loop is catered to you figuring out how to get up this cliff or get around this terrain, manage your cargo, keep taking out your container spray.
Yep.
And like repairing shit and like being I'm a perfectionist when it comes to that. So it's like really satisfying to like get the delivery safely where they need to go. So the loop hooked me. And yeah, I can't wait to dive into with you, like how you're feeling about the second game now, since you're a little bit more fresh on the first one more so now than me. So I didn't get to play as much of it as I wanted to before I got the code for the second game. So I'm
Sure.
eager to see how your onboarding process was
Yeah.
for the second one versus the
Yeah, I think
first.
something for me that helped this my enjoyment of the first game too, because I remember that first time I played in 2019, I remember the combat and specifically the BT encounters, the encounters of the beached things, Jerica, really deeply frustrating me. And I remember
Oh
so
yeah.
many times them just dragging me into the tar and losing all my shit. And I remember it being like I would dread anytime I was in combat. And so this time I put it on the easiest mode. I think it was very easy, they called it. And so I could take out a BT. Like when they turn into the big wolf guy, I could take one of those out with like 2 blood grenades. So it was like that, I think, unlocked it for me so that the first game was such a breeze to get through, whether it was the mules or the BTs or the bigger ones too. So that coming to this game and just starting out on normal, I just feel like I'm so much more comfortable with how the combat works that this time I'm kind of enjoying the challenge because now I appreciate the gameplay and I like that it kind of straddles between like an adventure and also kind of like a survival horror game. Like it kind of like
It goes
handles
back and
both of
forth.
those. It goes back and
Yeah.
forth. Like you'll be in the middle of traversing this massive, gorgeous landscape, and then all of a sudden now you have to start holding your breath
The
and
blood moon,
making
it rises
yeah,
leak. That's what
exactly.
I kept thinking when the sky was like red. I was like, the blood moon,
You're
no.
right. Yes. So Jericho, we have now played. So I've put about 9 hours. You have finished the game. You have rolled credits. Let's talk about DS2. Let's jump into first our high level thoughts. And since you've actually finished the game, I want to start with you. If you want to give it a score, you're more than welcome to. And yeah, as spoiler free, obviously. Which, as a general thing for the audience, we're gonna stay story bit spoiler free. We're gonna be talking about gameplay things and like revelations we had with certain gameplay elements. So if you think that is spoilery, warning. But we're not going to be talking about story stuff really. So yeah, Jerica, tell me about your experience with Death Stranding 2.
I loved almost every part of this game except like 2% of it. And that still could get resolved with a few things, and I'll talk about it later. But pretty much it's the perfect sequel to what it is. Death Stranding 2 is exactly what it is. I don't know if we were expecting anything else, but a lot of people got to preview it before it came out like a month or 2 months ago and actually went to Kojima Productions or somewhere close by and played. And like I kept seeing in the reviews that like I didn't read specifics. So I didn't want to know those things just yet. But I just kept hearing like this is Kojima's Metal Gear Solid 2, but for Death Stranding. So like that was all I needed to hear. So obviously with the sequel, you just expect you know they don't you don't have to reinvent the wheel, but just make the wheel roll faster or better. Put more lube on that tire. Is
Oh
that what
yeah,
people
let's
do? I don't
let's
know.
lube it up.
The tires are lubed and plugged, and and that's exactly what it is. Like it's more of the game I enjoy, but and I'm eager to hear your thoughts, but like the pacing, they just got you into the action so much faster. They
Yes.
got you weapons you needed much faster, vehicles much faster, thank God. And the combat and like the even to your point with like the BT encounters, I also avoided those if I could in the first game. I avoided all combat in the first game. I guess
Yeah.
that's probably the only thing I just enjoy making deliveries. Like they could Kojima could just sell me a delivery sim and I would be just fine.
Sure.
But in Death Stranding 2, I feel like you're equipped a little bit sooner, and the game does a really good job of like teaching you how to use your tools and resources. Like the first few encounters are like strategically placed, not as a tutorial level, but in a
Yeah.
way that it's teaching you to play. Versus in the first game, I feel like they sort of just threw you in and didn't really give you any tips on what you could or couldn't do. But I felt definitely way more equipped in that. I felt like as Sam Porter Bridges that I was way more experienced and tougher and less likely to fall over like I was in the first game. But Yeah, overall, they get you into the action faster. Gunplay mechanics, the interface is a little smoother and cleaner. I do have some complaints about swapping weapons, though. I found that to be a little, I don't know if it might be just a Jerica thing, but that was a little difficult in like tense moments. I was just opening the wrong gun, or it would close, or he would put the gun back, like,
Yep.
I guess, holster it back. And
Yep.
then I was like, what the fuck? Why did it do that? I'm just trying to swap guns. Um, but yeah, overall, I had a much better time. And I think I said this on Kind of Funny, but this would be, I've never recommended Death Stranding 1 to like most of my game friends that aren't like us. We're like everyone here that's here in this chat, Patrick, we're just like hardcore gamers. So we're trying
Yeah.
to play everything, But I have some gamer friends that just like play one or two things, but they still play video games. And I would just not recommend this to them.
Sure.
But the sequel, absolutely. And just watch a good recap video on YouTube or something, and then dive into this because it's fun. I just think the getting you into the action sooner was a big win.
I agree, and I've seen a lot of people. We posted a short today about kind of jumping in, like the things that are new with the second game and that kind of thing. And there's been some discourse in the comments of people being like, "You have to play the first game," and I agree with you. I don't think you do. I think as long as you watch a recap, because the thing is, like, I feel like for a game like this, a lot of people are going to be playing it for the story, and the story mileage is going to very considerably because of how obtuse it can be. And like it can be both obtuse and like very on the nose and very like campy in that way. So I feel like as long as you know what the story is going into 2 as best as you can, I feel like 2 improves so much on 1. I am so impressed with 2 in my 9 hours because like you said, the combat, it feels, I totally agree with a lot of the press coverage leading into this that it feels so much like Metal Gear 5. That,
Hmm.
and you were saying one of those first tutorializations is like kind of stealth, and you get to this segment and it's like, this is fucking Metal Gear 5. It's like you're in this like dusty, deserty area. You're come into this little camp, you're tagging people with your compass, you're trying to stealth take them out. Now you're not sending them up on the little balloon, but it's like I'm just playing Metal Gear Solid 5 again. And I think for me also, the story so far is so much more digestible than the first game. Like I already 9 hours in, there's still things that I'm a little confused about, but I feel like I could give you the basic story beats 9 hours in, and I fully understand what's going on at a high level. And I think compared to the first game, 9 hours in, I didn't. So I think that's a huge improvement. Totally agree with you on like the UI stuff. Huge step up
The
in
map,
most
the
regards.
the map sucked in the first one because you couldn't like
Yeah.
move around to like see like how tall like a certain cliff was, but now like you can totally see like is it
Yeah.
topography? Is that what
Yeah,
you
yeah,
call it? How
and, like, you can
high?
see the
Yeah, look at
verticality of
me.
the topography in the map.
Yeah.
And, with the map especially, it's like 4 steps forward, 1 step back for me, where because so much in this world is bright because you're in the desert most of the time, and
Yeah.
but you're still using that, like, light blue text. I have a really hard time reading some of this game in the map form, but that's pretty fucking nitpicky. So yeah, I'm really impressed, and I think with this one, I am already doing so much more side stuff because it's clicked for me, and like the visuals in this game, Jerica, oh, I
Man.
have there isn't a game more photorealistic
Yeah.
than this game, and it is by a country mile. Like this game,
My
oh, go
nipples
ahead.
are getting hard again just from
Yeah.
the opening cinematic, and
Oh,
like it just cuts straight to gameplay, and I was just like, "Oh, wowza!" Like on top of
yeah.
that mountain, and the music, God,
It's so good.
it looks good, it sounds good. Wowza. They did a great job like introducing you to the world, because that was a good like, they didn't start with this long ass cutscene. It was like a pretty long like introduction, but it was just like a movie sequence, but
Yeah.
it just went straight to gameplay, and I was like, "Oh, this is badass. This is badass."
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about. So we've started talking about some of like the upgrades and things, comparing it specifically to Death Stranding one. What do you feel like is kind of like the biggest upgrade with Death Stranding 2? Is it combat? Obviously, the graphics are a huge step up, but what is it for you that I think you think might kind of work for people more this time around?
I think the option to have like combat as like something that you could focus in or upgrade towards, because like I'm not the I'll go in and fight like a brigand camp or whatever. That's the baddie, the mules in this one. I think they're just called brigands, and I didn't need to. I didn't look that up in the corpus if they have like a true backstory, but overall, like I'm not trying to pick a fight. Still, I'm still trying to avoid BT. So like, and it's not the game's fault. It's just like I do feel more equipped to handle them, and if I get caught in a situation, I still go into it. But the weaponry and like the way that you can sneak into these camps now and choose different. I guess you have way more. I don't know if it's like I'm trying to, you've played the first game a little bit more than me, and I just really didn't do a lot of the combat. I just feel like I'm a little overpowered, which might be a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know, but like because I'm always getting headshots, so I'm just constantly slowed down.
Okay,
So I'm like,
pro gamer.
this, it's not hard though. Everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I'm doing it, the majority of the rest of the gamers are doing it because I'm not that great. But yeah, it just seemed like it was maybe the combat's just not too easy, but to your point with the story, just more digestible. And
Yeah.
maybe if someone does want to feel like they're on like I don't know the word I'm looking for, like what do we call it when you're on a high, just shooting things down, going crazy? You know what I'm trying to say? Want to feel like a
Like an
hero.
adrenaline rush.
Yeah, it's just that. And I guess if you enjoy just killing folk, well, not killing, knocking them
Not
out.
killing.
They want to
Because if you
cause a
kill
void
them,
out.
Jerica, you'll cause a void out. And what
Correct.
is a void out, Jerica?
It's when a body can't get cremated and the Death Stranding comes and eats it and it makes a hole in the earth. That's
Thank
my
you. I
corpus
learned something
definition.
just now.
Well, and
Um,
luckily I didn't do that at all in the game, but you apparently can. But I did
oh,
not do that.
really?
Mm-mm.
Oh, interesting.
I'm
Yeah,
not
this
I'm
game,
eager to know.
so far in my time, I don't think I have a weapon that can actually cause damage. They're all they can like MP, which I don't know what MP
Oh
stands
yeah,
for,
you
but
can't you might not be able to until a certain point. So I take that back. I don't know if you can actually kill them with like a vehicle or anything. I don't know, but there's a point where you could like um change that your weapons can kill versus knockout. And
gotcha.
I turned that setting right back off. I was like, nope,
Sure.
I'm
Look
not
at
doing
you.
that.
You're such a good person, Jerica. You're not doing that. You're not causing
No,
me
I'm
void
lazy. I
outs.
don't want to take that body to the incinerator. I got to
Sure,
take
sure.
this glassware to the vet. So they need their glasses.
Sure. Something I think for me, we've talked about the combat. It's a huge step up. I feel like another improvement for me is how much more the world feels real. And what I mean by that is like weather as one example. I feel like this game, it introduces like earthquakes basically that, as you're going through, it might cause you to like stumble a little bit, but it'll also cause like rock slides and that kind of thing. So just it kind of, for people that feel like the game, like it just like the walking looks boring, I feel like they're doing their best to try to always have something happening, whether that's
Yeah.
an obstacle in the terrain, at whether you're going up the hill or whatever.
Mhm.
And this game is also, unless this was maybe one of those things where like playing it on very easy in the first game, it just they got rid of that. But this game, I feel like from the beginning, I can only carry a very little amount. Whereas in the last game, I could start carrying a lot. And so
Mm.
that already is like more of a challenge and making me really consider like, oh, I really don't have space to bring a second ladder. So I hope that I'll either find one out there or whatever. But I feel like with that, the game kind of has these natural puzzles all throughout of like, how do I get from point A to point B? Yes, but also what can I prepare myself for getting from A to B to account for whether it's timefall, the rain that makes all your shit get deteriorated, whether it's things like the earthquakes that I just mentioned, sandstorms. I'm sure there's more weather things that I just haven't gotten to yet, only being 9 hours in, maybe not. But I feel like that's a fun, like, kind of elevation to the gameplay for me. Do you
Yeah.
agree with the weather stuff?
Yeah, I will say like I do appreciate like the dynamic of it all so it doesn't make the same day. You're not having multiple similar days cuz like one day you might not have a river here and then the next day it's just like fucking just I don't know. What do you call I guess it's a river. I wanted to call something what's the next step above a river? Uh uh a
Um,
typhoon. I don't know, a tsunami.
those are a
But
little. I
that's
mean,
not
a river is just in the
I guess
ground.
you got a creek versus a river, of a fast
Yeah.
flowing
Okay.
river.
Sure.
There
Sure.
we
Sure. Sure.
go.
Sure. Sure.
You know, and you might want to it's fun to think like if you ever want to have a fun challenge, and this goes back to what we're talking about here, like you're gonna be working in different areas, multiple preppers that you got to make deliveries for, and you're gonna want to use that map every single time. What if you didn't use your map to plan your route? Because you're gonna learn where these places are. Don't use your map if you want to have a different kind of mode that's not in the game,
Sure.
that's the extra hard mode. Don't use your map. Try to use your memory.
Ooh, look
It's
at
really
that.
hard and it's fun though. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry. Go
depending
ahead.
on the day and the weather condition, it might be completely different. So that's why it's sort of fun not to use your map because like you'll get an upgrade later that sort of tells you like weather conditions and alerts. But I, sometimes like to turn that off. I like to
Here's a
sort of get
question.
in the moment.
Cirrus in the chat says also time of day stuff. I maybe have just
Mhm.
not experienced. Are there different things that happen different times of day that would be like? Can you talk a little bit about that?
I've only seen that once or twice.
Okay.
But it wasn't a recurring theme. Even with I was about to add to like this conversation with like the weather events. I didn't want to sell it short, but this also could be because I just started mainlining it about 40-50% of the way because I just had to finish this game and I couldn't keep spending my time in
Sure.
these areas. The weather conditions never fucked me up. Never
Really?
they were never a fear for me.
Okay.
I've only saw one or two things I was like, "Oh shit, that could have killed me," but nothing ever came at me, bro. So there
I
wasn't
mean,
like a rock slide. Always saw one in the distance, but never coming at me. I saw it
interesting.
make a few rocks, but it wasn't anything like I'm just gonna move this way.
Sure,
I
sure,
don't want
sure.
that
Yeah,
rock. Oh
no,
god.
that's fair. I feel like I've really only had two, and they were toward the beginning, and it was like okay, I can see it coming from far enough away that I can get out of the way. I
I'm curious
assume
if it's just spectacle.
it
I've
might
seen
be.
it a few other times, but it just haven't happened close to me. It's like off in the distance. So I'm curious to hear like and see people experience it maybe a little bit differently than I did.
Sure. Yeah, I just assumed because at the very first time you encounter one, it's like this was a 6 on the G scale or whatever they call it. So I assumed that we're at some point like that'll escalate at some point. And I hope it does, but maybe it doesn't. Um, Jerica, we've talked a bit about the combat, but there's one piece of the combat so far that I really want to talk more about, and that's this fucking sniper rifle, Jerica. I'm not really ever one to like in gun games. I'm never like, ooh, I love this gun. This gun makes this game so much more fun. Guns to me are very much like just a means to play a game. I don't ever like play a game specifically for certain types of guns or whatever. Like that's also I think part of the reason why Call of Duty doesn't really click for me.
Yeah.
People are like, "Ooh, the P90, give me a P90." I was like, "Okay, whatever. A P90 is a P90." But there's something about the sniper in this game, and I think it kind of goes back to that Metal Gear Solid 5, the Phantom
Mhm.
Pain situation, because the sniper in that game was really satisfying too. That because there wasn't a sniper in the first game, is that
No.
correct?
Mm-mm.
I just before we started this podcast, I was playing more and I was in this like nighttime camp and I'm in like the second main setting of the game at this point and still pretty early on. I've connected like 3 or 4 areas to the chiral network in this second place.
Nice.
And I come up on this mule camp, the human enemies, and there's like 7 or 8 of them. And I find this little rock that I wish you could lay down. It'd be
I
nice
know.
if you could lay down in
I'm
this
so
game.
glad you said that. I keep forgetting to mention that. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
It feels weird to be like, oh, I have 80 kilograms of
maybe that's
boxes
why.
on my back. And I'm just
It'd be
like,
cool
hey,
if
but you can take the backpack off.
That'd be cool if you take it off and then do it though. That'd be dope.
Could be cool.
Come on, Kojima.
But
Add it in.
I'm really liking the sniper rifle, and I feel like that is going to be a new gameplay loop for me. Of okay, here's a camp. Make sure I have a sniper. If I don't, go get one. Find a good high up spot, tag everybody, and just start taking them out with the trank sniper. It's so good. Is there anything like the sniper that has really elevated your experience in this game in terms of combat?
I'm trying to think. I didn't give enough love to the electric sticks. I sort of want to give them more of a chance, but I just lean towards guns more. And yeah, I mean, I hate to have the same answer, but like I also thoroughly enjoyed this
Sure.
sniper. Like
The electric
it's just
sticks.
satisfying. Yeah, the electric.
Quick question: could you use those in the first game, or is that new to this game?
I think no. I think you could. Like
You
I
could,
remember
okay.
that. I remember. I'm like 90% sure.
Okay.
Because like
Cirrus also in the chat most likely knows. So Cirrus, if you know, because I remember them being thrown at me in the first game, but I don't remember ever having the option to pick them up myself. And that's cool because with that in this game, it can also be like a melee weapon with the being able to like electrocute people by swinging the big, like a bow staff almost. So that's been fun. Something though that has been a little weird in combat for me, and I'm wondering if you had the same experience. They kind of changed the buttons on us a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is with the combat. It's kind of like they changed it from square to circle. And it seems like a silly thing, but I keep going in and pressing square and then nothing happens. I'm like, God damn it. Why is nothing happening? It's like, oh, fuck, I got to press circle, which is frustrating. But well, I'll get
for once it's not affecting me specifically.
Really?
Yeah, it's really strange. I'm a wrong button pusher most of the time if I've been playing this one game and it changes it up on me. But I don't know, like I guess I just hadn't played enough of the first one before going to this one, so nothing really stuck, I guess. So the only issues I had like pushing I guess the wrong things. And it's not even my fault. It's not my fault. It's just like liking things and then Sam saying, I'm Sam. I'm like, I just want to like this watchtower, yo. I don't want to yell.
Sure.
And then funny, I'm gonna put together a little clip, but my girlfriend like keeps riding the bike and like instead of backing up, like she pulls back on the stick. So she's just like prairie dogging all the time. Not the poopy kind of prairie dogging, but the bike could just go wee.
Oh, sure.
It's like over and over. It's like the best. I giggle every time.
It's not combat related, but let's talk about that. Let's get away from combat. We've talked about combat enough. I am so impressed with the upgrades to the vehicles in this game. I think so far, I don't know if there's a third vehicle. I've only interacted with the truck and the reverse trike in this game, but both of them so much better than the first game. And that I think was super clear to me coming off of DS1 immediately. The truck, especially in the first game, was so fucking frustrating.
It wasn't even worth it.
It was never worth it. You get to a hill and it's like, there was this weird thing that would happen in the first game where you would just like lose control and all of a sudden it'd be like backing up or going forward or turning. And I'm like, I'm not touching the control. Drove me fucking nuts with DS1 to the point where I'd be like, okay, fuck it. I'm getting out of this fucking truck and I'm just walking, even though I don't want to right now. But so far in my limited experience with the second game, I've done, I think 2 or 3 truck situations and I've done 3 or 4 trike situations, and the truck especially so much better in this game. And I'm so fucking relieved because also it seems like this world is a good bit bigger than in the first one. So it's like, there's going to be times that I want to be driving instead of walking. So I'm glad that's the case. Do you agree with the improvements of the vehicles?
Yes, absolutely. And even like the bike, I just remember like I did get to mess around because I think that was an added bonus in the director's cut where you get the bike a little sooner. I could be wrong, but I felt like that was not as soon when I originally played Death Stranding. I could be wrong, but whatever. I got on that bike and I was like, oh shit, this bike's hard to control. And if I hit a pebble, it's fucking blowing me away. It just gets hung up on stuff. So like literally, I think that was my most quality improvement was like the vehicles not getting stuck on as many rocks and like
Yes.
giving you the ability to really be able to get over things. And spoiler alert, like it's not a big spoiler, but like you get to upgrade your vehicles now, which is cool. And I don't think I even have all the upgrades. It doesn't seem like all of them. So I'm curious to go back and like help a few vendors to see if I can get some more upgrades for my vehicles.
Yeah. Yeah. Is this a spoiler? Are there more vehicles than just the trike and the truck?
Not that there's one that sort of counts.
Okay.
That you definitely didn't have in the first game. That's just
okay. Well, then
hilarious.
Don't say it. Yeah.
I won't say it. I would say it's hilarious and not what you'd expect.
Hell yeah. Another we kind of touched on it, but another upgrade that I think is a huge step up, even though it's going to sound silly. I'm just feeding coal mines here who thinks this game just looks and seems boring. This game, it's just so much better with its radial menus of like, oh, I can quickly readjust all my cargo with like a quick switch of a button instead of having to go into the menu, go over to the left, go to cargo management, scroll down, hold triangle or whatever. It's like those little things they've made so much quicker and easier that I feel like it's just making this experience so much smoother to where I can just be playing the game so much more than spending my time in menus. Because Kojima loves putting you in menus in his game, especially with Metal Gear Solid 5. So much of that game is menu based with the forward operating base.
Yeah.
But this so far for me, I'm not super in the menus, and I really appreciate that.
Thank God. DS2. But yeah, it goes back into like, that you made me think of something that has improved combat, and that simply has improved me like in high stakes situations, or if I'm, trying to gun down these brigands, is just being able to like, okay, I'm out of a weapon. I can quickly just offload used items. I can quickly readjust if you're in the middle of a BT fight, big one, and like, your little helpers are coming out of the ground to throw you stuff, like, and you start just picking up items, you can like quickly, hit X and like, or go to your toggle in that menu and hit X and like auto adjust in the moment, makes the combat easier. Like not, easier might not be the word y'all want to hear, but like shit, the game's hard. The first game's really, you just get thrown around like a rag doll. So it's nice to have those little helpful quick actions for sure.
Yeah, I agree. So we've been very positive. We've been talking about all the things we love about this game, all the improvements, all the upgrades, all the things that are making us very happy. There are some things that aren't so good. There's some, whether it's they took a step back or it's just still kind of frustrating. I have a couple, but do you have anything that's like kind of really sticks out to you as being an issue with DS2, whether it's compared to 1 or not? No, nothing really.
Simply no. Like I'm not, other than like, I wish I guess this is a nitpicky thing, but it's sort of annoying that I can like, when you're picking up multiple orders or like picking up, maybe I'm about to work on this road and I want to pick up all these materials. I can't select all, and it's really annoying me. Like you can select multiple, but you can't select all from like your menu to pick up items.
Yeah, you can.
And it's such a bitch because I like have to go through, or if you're doing like accepting multiple main orders or sub orders, you have to go through and like click all the individual things. Unless I'm doing something wrong, I would love for someone to correct me, but like there's no select all.
I would love that too. I don't think there's a select all because I
there's like a remove all.
Yeah,
which is interesting. I don't know.
It's no weird. In the chat says too many people liked selecting all, so it was removed, which is him referencing that story from a couple of weeks ago where Kojima was like, we need to make the game worse. People like it too much.
Was that one of the things he changed?
It might have been.
Fuck him. Been. Do something else, man. Don't change anything. The menus.
I know, right? A couple things that stick out to me. It's really not a ton. I briefly mentioned already the map thing. Both of them, whether you're in compass mode or looking at the map, sometimes I like can't read what's on the screen because
it's just too
the contrast is just not good enough.
Blends in.
So like there are sometimes in my 9 hours so far that I have gone to sleep to make it nighttime so that I can read things better. And I feel like that's
really?
Yeah.
Ugh, because I hate playing at night.
Well, it's so much prettier to play during the day, but I don't know if it's my eyes, my TV, because I'm in this new rental. So I have a rental TV. I don't know if it's that, but it's like, I can't read sometimes on this game, and that sucks. I'm going to go in the next like week or so. I'm going to go to my folks' house and get my OLED and send back one of these rental TVs because I need it. Now
You
that we're
do
here
need
for a
it.
minute, I fucking
Yeah.
need it.
Yay.
But so there's the map that has been, not a huge to do, but it's been frustrating at times. And also another weird one for me, and like I think it's probably easy to figure out the why here, but I'm surprised at the lack of performance from Norman Reedus, aka Sam Porter Bridges,
Everybody is. Okay,
specifically from like the
I'm
voice
ready.
acting side.
I should have went harder on Kind of Funny, but I didn't. I was like, what do
Talk to me.
y'all want more from this man? It's Norman Reedus. Kojima wanted him to be in this game. If you've watched interviews, if you're a Death Stranding fan, you know why Kojima picked him, and he gave him no more direction. He's like, I just want you to be yourself.
Sure.
Do nothing extra. Look a whale. That's from like
Look
the
at
last
Will.
movie.
Yeah.
And like literally and I think for me it just really I don't need a reason. I just know like he's just a guy that doesn't have a lot to say. And I like that there's a character that doesn't have a lot to say. And I don't think he really wants to say much. I get that from his character, like going into like story, like narrative, like shit, it's just him and this doll. Fuck, I wouldn't talk either. I'm not trying,
Here, let me clarify a little bit.
Okay.
Specifically just like performed voice acting, performed dialogue. This game introduces a new feature where you can choose dialogue options.
They should have put that in there because that's tricking you because that's not what it is.
Right. But the vast majority of it, so far I've had one instance where you choose something and Sam speaks. All the other times Sam doesn't speak. And it's the kind of thing for me where it's kind of immersion breaking because I'm looking around this unfucking believable looking world. I'm looking at easily the most impressive motion capture I've ever seen in my life. We got fucking George Miller in this game looking exactly like he does in real life. Like the attention to detail in this game, one of our first cutscenes of the game, maybe a spoiler, I don't think it is. Sam's cooking. It's like I've never seen something look better on a video game than this right now. Like it just looks so good. So it's weird that randomly Sam just won't speak, even though he's speaking.
He don't speak at all though in the first game. Really, he does. He doesn't talk. He doesn't talk.
Correct. Yes,
he's not a talker. He's just a dude.
But now they are making him speak more, but it's just
they're not making him speak more. I don't understand. When are they making him speak more?
Well, so anytime, maybe I need to just stop doing the extra conversation.
No, your point is valid. I don't want to say, the point's valid. You just gotta, it's just not Sam's character. And you don't get that from him too much. I was hoping he would open up go through the narrative some more. You probably can, I know where you're at now in the narrative, but it's his personality. Like, I think it would be weird if he started talking more because based on what's happening in the game, it'd be strange.
I guess
do we want him talking to vendors and stuff like the preppers more or?
Well, yeah, because the vast majority of my criticism is with the vendors. It's with the various chiral network places of you go there, they turn on the chiral network, and then it gives you 4 conversation options of just asking for more information about whatever. And it's just it's weird to me. It's dissonant to me that he's not speaking, but then they're speaking. It's just weird to me because it's the only time in the entire video game where someone doesn't speak the words that are supposedly being said. It's the only time it happens. So it's weird for me is all.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a mix of things, but yeah, it doesn't break it for me because I'm just used to him. Shit, I'm just used to him not talking, I guess. And I'm just and most of those menus, not to say those people aren't interesting. I'm just one of those that read subtitles. Unless it's a cutscene, I'm gonna read subtitles and click X. Anyways, I'm trying. There's so many. The peppers have so much to say, and a lot of the dialogue too is really good for people that haven't played the first game because it's also teaching you about the world through those vendors too. They'll bring up things from the first game or at least concepts that maybe you haven't gotten to yet, and you're like, oh, this is adding to the narrative to just make sure you are understanding the world. Okay. But some of them will have a lot more dialogue than others. So it just depends on I'm skipping a lot of those, but then there's like a few that took me down a big rabbit hole and it's much more exciting. So that's why I'm like, I'm not going off on a tangent here, but like I'm going back and playing and like doing missions for all those vendors that I missed because shit, one that I did, I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. If there's more of those moments with some of these people, I don't want to miss it. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point of like another thing that I'm liking. I feel like the reward for doing side stuff is clearer here, where like the
yeah,
path to upgrading things, and like I got one of these vendors to like 4 stars and I got a really cool upgrade. I was like, oh cool. Now I wanna, whenever I unlock a new thing, I'm gonna spend 20 minutes just finding some lost cargo, doing an extra standard order, which I never did in the first game. And because the reward is
they
a
give
lot
you a
clearer.
clear path of what
Yeah,
that person might give you, which is
for sure.
nice. So it sort of helps you figure out how much time you want to spend in this area for
Yeah.
sure.
Last thing for me on things that have kind of gotten in my way with On the Beach so far. I feel like sometimes the game is getting in its own way, and it only happened toward the beginning, so I'm hoping that it was just an early game thing. But there's this moment, and I'm going to speak vaguely because I don't want to spoil it. But there's a moment in like, let's call it like the prologue, where as Sam, you are trying to get somewhere with haste. There is urgency with you're trying to get from point A to point B, but like especially fast. And there's like, this is just one example of it. I have a reverse trike. I am flying through the desert, and it keeps forcing me to stop to pull up his little codec to have a conversation with another character. I'm
Mm,
like,
I know what you're
what?
talking about.
Just let why are you stopping the action right now for 2 lines of dialogue? Because then it gets me out of it, and then I
That
gotta
happen
hit. Doesn't
anymore.
happen anymore. Okay,
No.
good, good.
And if it did, I'm sorry, but I don't remember that happening. I
Yeah.
think if it happened multiple times, I would have remembered it too. So I don't think that
Okay,
happens
good,
anymore. But
good.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. That does
Yeah,
sort of
I was
suck.
like, I was so uh irrationally annoyed. I was like,
You just
The
turn
the
off your
the
Apple
the
Watch. Stop.
right. The game is telling me I have to get here as fast as possible for story reasons, and you won't fucking let me get there.
Just like just trying to have a phone call. I'm
Yeah,
on my bike in a hurry. Quit
I
trying to
know,
tell
dude.
me this.
Um, uh, let's talk a little bit about story, and we're gonna stay spoiler free. And this is gonna be a quick one because it is hard to talk about story without spoiling things. But for you, Jerica, as someone who has finished the story, do you feel like this is like a big step up from the first game? Do you feel like it's maybe more um not relatable, more like at the point of entry is maybe a little easier with this one? What are your
A
thoughts on the
tiny
story
bit.
at a high level?
It's still a tiny bit.
Yeah.
I think they're pacing it out to not overload you with like, and that might be just part of I was playing the first game and being familiar with the world already. Maybe that's why it feels that way with us. So I'm curious for people that have never played Death Stranding how they feel jumping into this. But I feel like it's paced out. So yeah, you're not getting hit over the head with tar belts and tar gates and Targate SG1s. That's not in the game. That's trying to blend Stargate into that. But yeah, you're not overwhelmed by that much all at once, but it is evenly spaced so you can sort of follow along. And to your point, I think it is something a little easier to grasp, especially using the corpus. I call it Corpus Christi
Yeah.
when you like want, and I even use that a few times. Let me slow down. Something was mentioned. Let me just make sure I understand what this is. So that was helpful.
And if
But
someone
yeah,
doesn't know the corpus, what is the corpus?
it's your glossary, your
Yeah.
dictionary, whatever. If so, and it's cool because like if in the game, like if something's mentioned, it like shows up like what's in the games that why can I not think of I know there's another game that does this. Like something's mentioned in the world, you can press the start button and it'll take you to that definition, which is nice in the moment.
Hmm.
Um, but overall, story was just as good as the first one, in my opinion. And I love the first one. I love this wacky story so much because it's just Kojima's really good at blending very generic a human emotion. I say generic human emotions. I'm just like talking about grief and regret and all this shit. And it's just he combines that into this wacky anime fantasy world.
Yeah.
Like, it's don't get lost in the weeds with how weird this world is. Just understand it's all about human connection, and that sort of helps you digest the story a little bit. But man, if you're able to follow along to what's to some of the weird stuff, like it's cool. And man, you are. I can't wait to hear what you get to like some of these cutscenes, the spectacle. The moments that Higgs is on screen, and I'm like, just literally, I cried on screen, and it was, and I said this on Kind of Funny. I cried, and it wasn't a sad scene. I cried because it was
Yeah.
just so badass and just like such a. It was just fucking cool. It was so cool.
I'm
And
so
I've
excited. I
never.
haven't seen Higgs yet. I can't fucking wait.
You're in for a treat. Just like dialogue between him and like a few other people is just so fucking good. And
Yeah.
there's a few scenes near the end. They're just like just the fucking spectacle and the how big this moment is. I'll say this is like an Avengers Endgame moment, and it was
Yeah.
so fucking cool.
Do you think, because you've also beaten Expedition 33,
Yes.
so the fucking Noahs and coal mines in the chat, oh, they're talking about a fucking game that I like now. Do you think that, because I think a lot of people think that some of the performances in that game are like shoe-ins for best performance at things like the Game Awards. Do you think Troy Baker's Higgs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably will win. Probably will win.
Hell yeah. I'm so excited to get to it.
I think this has officially topped like his performance out on top of Joel, like for me. And I know that might freak you out, but it's just such a unique character, and I feel like he's being less grounded in reality. So he's got some fucking goofy range, and it's very cool to see. He definitely sparked my interest. I want to see him do more weird shit.
I mean, I just love seeing people do weird shit. That's why I'm playing Death Stranding
weird.
too.
That's why I love this game. It's just so weird in a good way.
Our audience, our sweet audience, sent in some questions on the Discord. If you don't already join the Discord, go to dropindropoutpod.com. Each episode of Drop In Drop Out, we like to bring in comments from the Discord. You can also be in the live chat and bring in comments. And you can call me names like Noah is in the chat. But first question comes from Eldon Bingus. Jerica. Eldon Bingus says, on a scale of 1 to awesome, how good is the Bola gun?
It's fun. I didn't use it that much, but it's entertaining to use if you just want to like wrangle up some folks.
Sure.
I don't really remember using it in the first game too much, but because it was in the first game, right? Yeah, I think it was too.
Huh?
Yeah. I used it once or twice, but like in terms of like, I don't know, the shotgun feels really good, so I use that a lot for like quick takedowns. I use the shotgun a lot, so I didn't use the bolo gun as much. I know it's underappreciated, but I still keep one in the pickup loader at all times. You never know when I might run out of ammo on something else. The bolo gun.
I use the Bola gun a good bit. I feel like the benefit of the Bola gun, I think, is you don't have to be as accurate because its reach is so wide. So I think the bowl. I would give it a solid 8.
Close. I just don't like getting close.
That's true.
I don't like getting close to people. Okay.
That's true. You know who I want to be close to, Jerica? A Silly Duck rating with 11 viewers. Welcome in, Raiders. W Raiders. Thanks for being here.
I love Silly Duck.
I know, right? We're talking Death Stranding 2. If you have any questions for us, Jerica has beaten the game. I'm about 9 hours in. We're taking some audience questions right now about the game. Our dumpster boy, our sweet dumpster boy, wrote in and asked, how big is Norman Reedus's enormous dingus? Do we get to see it in this game?
No, spoilers? And I guess if you're looking at, a covered crotch, when there's pants on it.
Yeah.
I will say it's a good-looking crotch.
Okay.
They put some effort into his ass and crotch, and I mean his whole body, obviously, but you don't actually see anything. You get close a few times when he gets out of the water at this one point, but nah, you don't see it. But his crotch covered. Looks good.
Do you think, how he has those little handprints all over his skin?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's got one right on his dick.
I think there's a lot of little ones.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Not the BBs. Oh, no.
Just all over that thing.
Oh, no. Aaron needs food.
Don't grab me there.
To get us away from BB's touching Norman Reedus. Aaron needs food asks, As a Death Stranding fan, I loved how novel everything in the first game was. The weird techno lingo and world building was so unique. Does DS2 have a similar level of strangeness compared to the first game? Does it keep you on your toes throughout the journey, Jerica?
Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm not, don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything, but like I sort of knew who a character was. Like I just had a good guess and I'm like, I could see where they make that happen, but I never, I didn't know how they would get to that point. And up until the reveal, I still didn't know. So up until the very end, I
Well,
could not predict, I did not predict anything.
okay.
Yes. I was on my
Yeah.
toes till the very end.
So far, I would agree. And also, I like with the similar level of strangeness. Absolutely. Like, this game is already so fucking weird, but it's so charming. It's in such a charming way. I met this little, I don't think this is a spoiler. If you watched any of the advertising for it, this little like tar cat I met,
Yeah.
I'd die for this fucking
Oh,
thing. I don't know anything about it yet, but oh my God, is the tar cat on Magellan Man?
no, but your tar
Oh,
made me think of this tar. Unfortunately, not. But I saw my friend put his doll man on his Magellan man,
smart.
and I was so glad to do that.
I have to come clean, Jerica,
What?
and I have to admit,
You don't
I
like doll
had
man?
no. Oh, I loved All
Oh,
Man.
oh, thank
I
God.
so I had a bit planned for months. We were in a drop in, drop out Sunday night business meeting, and you and Maury both said that you were going to get the collector's edition, and you guys were going to show it on the podcast when you reviewed it. Maury's not here. And I was like, you know what? I am pre-ordering the collector's edition of Death Stranding 2 so that when we're reviewing this game, you guys bring out your Magellan hands mans and I can do the same thing. And even though at the time I didn't fucking care about Death Stranding 2 on the beach, and it didn't come. It's still not come. And also Maury's not here. So the bit, my planned bit kind
We'll
of, but
still
I've been
do it.
fucked.
I still want to do it. We'll still do it.
Well, so I've also now decided. So you were very positive on the collector's edition. Maury, not so much in terms of like the quality of the statue, and also like
Wow.
I'm in this much
Oh,
smaller
this is really
space
nice.
now, and like I just don't really have space for it. It's not necessarily my vibe. So I am gonna,
It looks
if the
wet.
collector's edition ever comes, I am gonna send it back unless someone in the audience wants to buy it for me at the price I bought it. I won't scalp you, but I think I'm gonna send it back. But I am sad that I'm not gonna have the little doll man keychain. I fucking love doll
Oh
man
yeah,
because
this
in
is
my head
fucking
canon, it's just
amazing.
Alan Wake.
I know, isn't it? He's my girlfriend's a little annoyed with them, and I was like, maybe you'll change your mind later on. So
Do you think Audrey could 3D print me a little doll man?
yes, yes,
Hell
easy.
yeah. Let's
Yeah,
do that.
let's
Because
do it.
but I was talking to Rose. I was like, I can't. I want that fucking little keychain guy, but I was like, I can't justify a $230 fucking collector's edition for
Yeah,
one keychain because I don't really care about the Magellan Man statue.
man, the fucking Magellan Man's so awesome looking though.
Yeah.
I'm pleased with the statue quality. It's a
Hell yeah.
really nice statue. I just
Good.
like the fact that there's an umbilical cord sticking out of its belly and it looks wet.
Amazing.
It's
Amazing.
gross.
I do kind of wish in hindsight, I would have rather had the BB statue.
That was a better collector's edition. You got
Yeah.
more in it because like I was doing the stream of me opening it, and I was like sort of I was like I knew the Magellan Man was in there and the little doll man, but I was like, God, I feel like there's more stuff in here, and I don't remember. No, that's pretty much it. And you get some pictures, and Kojima wrote me a message. Well, typed it, had it printed on something. Uh,
Do you think he actually wrote that?
no, I
No
wish it
way.
was. He should have
Man.
signed it. I was hoping it was at least signed. He needs to sign these. One day I'm gonna smell him and he's gonna sign this
That's
and
exactly
my
right.
and my ass cheek so I can get it tattooed.
Yes.
My left one.
Last question. This one came during the show. That's our commitment to you. I will keep
Mhm.
my eye on the Discord. In fact, keeping my eye on the Discord just showed me Noah just shared a picture of Peach's ass in the Discord because apparently Super Mario Strikers is coming to the GameCube Switch Online thing next Thursday.
Oh snap!
So that's exciting. But Heroic Headgear asked a couple questions during today's episode in the Discord thread as well. He says, do you have to be friends with someone to see their pea shrooms? Is the first question. I think you
No,
do, right? No,
I
you
don't think
don't?
so. I was
Oh,
seeing
no, of
them.
course. Yeah, because I'm
Yeah.
seeing random people.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up though, because I do think I forgot to look up this in the corpus, but you can make social strand contracts with people. So make sure we're friends on PSN because I don't know if we're friends on PSN,
We are not
Patrick.
friends on
We
PSN.
we need to fix
I've
that.
tried. I've tried
We
so many
need
times.
we need. Oh, you have? I'm
No,
sorry.
I haven't.
Oh, shit.
I'm lying.
I am probably missing it. You know me. Uh, but yeah, because like if you create a strand contract, I think you'll always see my stuff in your game versus just getting lucky and not and seeing it.
We should do that because yeah. So I guess in a roundabout way, you do have to be friends to see it because otherwise, there's no chance I'm just gonna happen to come
You're not gonna
across
see my
Jerica's.
mushroom,
Yeah, no way.
and I
And
want you to see mine.
correct. That's correct. And then another question. I'd love to have an in-depth conversation about the active photo mode. Looks so fun. I am not a photo mode girly, but you are, right?
Yes.
How
Oh,
have you been
yes.
enjoying Death Stranding's photo mode?
Fuck. It almost caused me not to finish this game. I love it. I mean, Horizon, if you mess around with that photo mode, it's the same because, like, I guess it's the Decima engine doing its magic. But I love when photo mode has lighting effects where I can, like, put in one or
Sure.
two lights. And I think about Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart 2 because they also have that kind of the lighting effect in photo mode. And it just adds a different dynamic if there's a dark room, but I want a little bit of light on Sam's face. Like you can get into the weeds with that. And I will say the aperture settings are a little bit easier if you want to do manual adjustments. Like it's super easy to use. Or you can turn on like autofocus if you want that and have a blurred background. So
Nice.
those features are really in depth and yeah, it's a good photo mode. And just all the different poses you can put everybody in, like including Dollman, is so fun.
I love
God.
it. Yeah, for me, I'm never really a photo mode person, but I'll take like screenshots from time to time, or I'll do what for this I've done a few times is capture the last like 15 or 30 seconds because
Oh
already
yeah.
there's one time to like maybe briefly hint to you and people that have played it at the moment I'm talking about without actually spoiling it. There's a weird fucking thing that happens after you wake up once toward the beginning of the game
Yeah.
that is I thought was so funny. It was like, what am I watching? So like
What?
I captured that. But because yeah, also that reminds me, this cast is unfucking real. There's so many both like A-listers, but also like the guy who voices Mimir is the president in
Yeah.
this game.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Woo.
For any trash cinema fans, he's it from Split Second with Rutger Hauer, which is the movie that for lore, anytime we talk about cream and leathers, that's where that came from.
Hmm.
Um, just as a little save trash cinema lore for you, but yeah, like it's so fucking weird to me that George Miller is in this game
Yeah.
and Guillermo del Toro obviously he was in the last game, but like it just I feel like no one Kojima is so weird and so accepted for how weird he is. I feel like we're not actually addressing how this cast in this caliber of a game is unreal, right? Or are people addressing that and I'm just behind the curve?
No, I'm sure it's. I think that's part of the probably what would motivate or at least draws people's attention into maybe should I play this game? Look at all these really cool people are in it, and then they signed
Yeah,
up for this, and they're like, "What the fuck?"
but
It's a
like
big
yeah, there's
psych
so
out.
many people.
Oh,
It,
I love that he's sort of doing it on purpose. He's like,
yeah,
"This is gonna make people want to like
right,
buy my
right.
game," and then be like, "What the fuck? I'm peeing on mushrooms. Like, what's going on?"
Last question from the audience. This is from the chat. Coal Mines says, question for me: what percent of the game is the walking slash delivering sections? That's not one I can answer yet.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
What
Repeat.
what percent of the game is the walking slash delivering sections? I mean, it's the vast majority, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the whole appeal of the game. But with vehicles, you don't have to walk as much. I'll say
Yeah.
that.
And I feel like there's more combat in this one already
Mhm.
for me. So
There's
like,
missions you get that you have to go and fight. Like
yeah,
you'll get main orders to do that at
yeah.
some point. So
And
it's
also
broken up pretty well.
for sure. And I feel like this game, I've only come across one of them, but in the last game there was only like one of them. There's all like the kind of big boss battles. I feel like this game,
Yeah.
if I've already had one in the first 9 hours, and that was in the first like 4 hours, I feel like there must be more of them throughout the game, which
I
is a
don't
good
talk
bit
about how
different.
much I hate it. I hate it in the first game and I hate it in this one too. I just don't enjoy those big BT, like the super BT fights. But
Oh,
yeah, there's a
sure.
lot more in these and I still like hate it because I'm just slow
Really?
as fuck. It's just I'm just hate being slowed down by the tar and feel like
Sure. Sure.
I'm like 1,000 pounds every time.
I so there's like really only the one I mean, there's like the ones that are kind of like when you're fighting like the wolf things or like the squid thing in the first game, but those aren't the same as like the giant BTs. And I
Yeah.
feel this one, because the combat just feels so much better. I thought this one was so much more fun than the one in the first game, because in the first game you were just like looking up at Godzilla and just shooting rocket launchers and that's
Yep.
it. Whereas this one, like you're having to kind of dodge like tentacly
Oh
type
yeah.
things, and like it definitely is more active than the
I
first
still
game
got
in a
spanked
good
so
way.
much because I can't dodge fast enough. I'm just slow as
Sure,
fuck.
sure.
So I'm just getting spanked. Oh, and you brought up something too that made me want to answer whoever's question that was. I forgot, but was it who was that? That asked about the walking percentage.
Coal mines.
Oh, I also wanted to add this to him too. Like add this to your maybe appeal to it. I would say the environments. I feel like the whole first game you're just in Iceland.
Yeah,
Well, you're in for a treat because I feel like you get a little bit of everything in this game. So like every time you sort of felt like you're getting burnt out, one, you're just maybe tired of doing orders for a certain vendor. You don't want those. You don't care about those upgrades. Just know like the next story path is going to take you to an area that has definitely new challenges for the terrain. So that sort of resets you too. So it doesn't feel like a total, God, I gotta go walk and do this again or even drive here again. No, but
sure.
the different environments make you're definitely wanting to explore. You're like, oh, this place is cool. Let me see what's over there. Like, oh, I want to see what it's like walking through this type of environment. So
I will say that was very good, but I don't think we can say anything to convince coal mines to get this game.
that's
Uh,
fine.
Even though he did ask the question.
I do
Uh,
like even tonight I might stream a little bit, but yeah, I
Ooh,
definitely want to play. Like if you're
cool.
interested in watching me, like I'm dipping my toes back in there and I'm not really going towards like main story stuff, so I won't spoil you. I'll try to keep away from that. I'm just fucking building roads, you know. I like to
Nice.
build my roads and my zip lines and going to find those other vendors that I might have
Cool.
missed.
I do feel like that's another thing about this game that I think adds to the criticism. No, sorry, this is coming out wrong. I think it is a positive that where a lot of like, but oh, you're just walking the whole time. I do feel like there is like a pseudo community in building a road and setting up a thing of zip lines that, like, I remember in the first game there's like this like mountain act where there's like a bunch of stuff in the middle of mountains, and I remember taking like 2.5 hours one night, and I remember thinking like, I'm wasting so much time. I need to fucking finish this game because Death Stranding 2 comes out in like 3 days, which in hindsight I did run out of time, but I spent so much time just building a complete zip line situation from the bottom of one mountain to the top or to the bottom of the other side of it. And I'll never know if people get to find that, but I was like, but if they do, that's going to make that so much easier for them, and that feels good to
It
know
does.
that. Yeah.
And I feel like there's definitely way a bigger community on this launch than there was. I'll say like there was the whole last week of me playing up to the review, they had the network down. And that's when the game got instantly way
Ooh,
more lonely. So on top of this, I'm already having to play it and I can't tell Audrey anything. She doesn't want to know anything. I'm obviously can't tell her anything, but she doesn't want to
sure.
know. And we both played the first game together and it was fun. And we just got to talk about big story beats and like, how are you doing this? Like, and I felt, and I couldn't talk to y'all about it. I
I
felt
tried.
so
Can,
sad.
can I just say, shout out to Jerica. I tried so many times to be like, no, 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 I won't. Like, we'll just like, he'll never know that you're breaking
Shit,
embargo. Just
I
like, tell
know.
me anything.
Shit, I
He
didn't
wouldn't.
like if it wasn't a Kojima game, maybe, but I will tell you, like, fuck, I was like, Kojima could be in my console. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know who's all tethered to this machine right
Yeah,
now because they
yeah,
wanted
yeah,
my PSN for it and everything. I was like, oh, I'm getting my serial number recorded. So I didn't tell nobody. And I
yeah.
like made sure all my shit was turned off so I couldn't
I
accidentally
tried.
hit stream. But I was so lonely the whole time. I couldn't. There was these big moments happening. I'm just like, fuck. I guess I can't tell nobody. This sucks. But I'm glad. I know I enjoyed doing it. But yeah, it definitely echoed Sam Porter's emotions throughout this game. Was sort of how I felt. And then when they turned off the network and I didn't have all my Porter friends helping me out, was super sad and way more difficult. Because
I
I had to
bet.
build my own bridges. I had to build my own generators. I'm like, fuck. I need more bandwidth on the chiral network, but I don't have time to go upgrade these vendors to get more bandwidth. I'm trying to finish this game, and it's very
Right.
hard now. It was very hard in
I
those
believe it.
conditions.
Because also something that I've not clocked until you just said that. This game from the jump gives you so much more from the community. Like I remember in the first game, I feel like things only really unlocked later in the game. It's like, there's a point in the first game. I don't know when exactly, but it's like all of a sudden, like half of the map has a road. And I think it's because like they were like, okay, you probably should have been building these, but you haven't been. So here's most of the road done for you. And I feel like with this game, like I was one of the first missions, all of a sudden there was I couldn't even build a trike yet, but there was a trike available for me from someone out there. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
what a huge help already. So I like that. It's very clear. It seems that they want to enhance the connection of it all with the community and play on online mode. Because usually I'm the kind of like something like Deathloop as an example. I'm just going to play that game offline. I know it was designed to have people come in, but it's like I would rather just have a completely siloed experience. But with this game, I come on from rest mode and it says I'm offline. I'm like, oh, no. I got to, if I need to restart the whole game, I will. You just do it from the menu, but it's like I have to connect because if I don't connect in Death Stranding 2, what's the fucking point?
What's the point? And
Yeah.
I got annoyed with like all these little signs that people put like into the going down into the distribution centers or whatever. Like you're just like spammed with all these
Yeah.
signs. The moment the network went down and I started realizing, oh, this is nice. I don't have to look at everyone's bullshit signs right now. Oh my God, I started missing it. I felt like there was no
Really?
one celebrating me when I turned this chiral network on. I was like,
Yeah.
and I miss this spam and just feeling the world is so empty when you don't have all these things. It's just literally nothing. And it just makes you feel so lonely. I missed it
Yeah.
immediately. I remember like being like, oh fuck, does Kojima know? Like maybe I told Audrey about this thing. Am I shut off from the network because I broke embargo? I hope not. But then I realized other people couldn't get on the network. But I was a little scared. I was like, oh shit,
Yeah.
what did I do? Did Kojima tell me no more?
Look,
Or did I build too many roads and they were putting me in timeout? That was another
yeah,
concern. I was like, why? But it happened to everybody.
that's so funny. Yeah, I will say I think I wouldn't miss all of the little icons and things. I wish I could turn those off, because especially the ones where it has a little like audio message and
I
it's
know.
just the same one over and over. I forget. I've heard it so many times, but I already forget what it is. But it's like you'll go through 7 of them in a row, and it just keeps saying whatever
Shit.
that phrase is. It's like, God,
Keep
just
on
shut
keeping
up.
on.
Keep on, keep. Yeah, that's what it is. Keep on keeping on. Keep on keeping on. Like, Jerica, any final thoughts on Death Stranding 2 on the beach?
It's more of the same thing from the first game, but it's just way better. That's my overall thoughts on it. And man, the story spectacle. Kojima went all out on his cutscenes, and it's not just boring cutscenes. It's jam packed full of action and just badassery. That's the word I'll use.
Oh, yeah.
Badassery. I hope there's another one, and that's not me saying that it's ending on a cliffhanger or anything. Like I hope after playing this, like I want to see where this game could go next. Like, I would be curious. Sometimes we're nervous with a third iteration of a game because the sequels, most of the time it's perfecting the first game. I think about Mass Effect. Like the second game to me was like the best Mass Effect.
Sure.
So, and the third one sort of didn't land mainly because of the ending. But I'm curious, like, I don't think Kojima could. I think he would always land on his endings. I think he can always land on a story, so I trust him. But I don't want this world to be over. I want more. So I can't wait for the rest of the world to finish. Just hear what they have to say.
Oh yeah. Would you say that ending a Death Stranding game without a clear conclusion would be a cliffhanger? instead of a
Yes.
cliffhanger.
Shut
Oh, how
up.
about that?
That's
How about
good.
that?
That's good,
That's the
man.
Mads Mikkelsen character. If you're not a knower, his name is Cliffhanger.
That was
That
good.
joke
That was
was
good.
for that was yeah, that's a cognitive clips joke right there, and he knows it. He
It
knows it.
is.
He fucking
Oh,
knows
he's
it.
mad. He's
Yeah,
mad, but he
he's so
loves it.
mad.
Yeah.
He's so fucking mad. I agree with everything you said. I think the one thing I'll add to it. Noah mentioned earlier, and I did see it, but
Oh.
I still feel like he was talking shit, which is fine. I don't care that he doesn't want to play the game, even though but he says he is going to play it because this
Oh.
game is so fucking gorgeous. And
Yeah.
especially if you have a PS5 Pro,
Yeah.
or if you don't have a PS5 Pro but you have a really fucking good TV,
Yeah.
you must play Death Stranding 2 on the beach. And like it's going to be on PlayStation Plus eventually. If you don't care about the game, just wait for it. It'll be free at some point for you. But I can't fucking believe how good this game looks. And I'm playing on like a not very good television. So I can't fucking wait to get the OLED because I am so impressed. I don't know how they do it. I know a lot of people are really excited about Unreal Engine 5. Put everything in the Decima engine.
Yeah.
This fucking engine, dude. It's
Why won't
so
PlayStation share this with
I
more
know.
people? Let's
I
go.
know. It's so fucking good. But yeah, I agree that like this is more of the same, but it's better more of the same. And I think that is a huge step up compared to the first game, which I think is good.
I thought the first game looked so good. I just booped over there today before we hopped on just as like, I'm like, let's see how jarring this is. Like, oh God,
Yeah.
this is a PlayStation 2 game. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? And this
Which
was
is funny
good when it
because
came out.
when I was playing Death Stranding 1 48 hours ago, I was like, wow, there are parts of that game that look 2025 fucking PS5. And then there are
Yeah.
parts of the game, especially like a huge, I think, gain from 1 to 2 is the hologram characters. They look so much better in the
Yes,
second
I
game than the first
know.
game. But yeah, then I boot up. I'm like, so yeah, I'm so impressed with how DS1 still looks. But then I boot up 2. I'm like, oh,
I'm like, whoa, shit. This
it's
is
night and
next
fucking
gen.
day.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. So officially, what we are saying is you should play Death Stranding 2 on the beach. I won't be surprised if this is in my short list for Game of the Year.
It's on
Only
mine.
9 hours in. Yeah.
It's definitely on mine.
Yeah, I believe it.
Oh,
Because I'm so impressed. And hearing from you that the story lands and like continue and just only gets better is very exciting because that's the kind of thing that I think takes a game like this from being great to being amazing or to being a masterpiece is if they can execute on the story like that. So very, very exciting stuff. Jerica, before we go home, is there anything that you would like to tell the folks at home? You said you might stream the game later.
yeah, I might stream it later. If you don't see me boop on there tonight, which it just depends how much my girlfriend wants to play. Because if she's playing over there, I'm gonna play over here, so I'll stream it. Um, Other than that, JK Games should be back next week. Me and Kayla are doing something over there on Monday night, so hang out with us. I'll probably talk a little bit more about Death Stranding and talk about our plans for JK Games 2.0. The goal was really just to see who wants to join us and us chat through like what we're trying to do and what people would want to see from our new idea. So
Cool.
yeah.
Very exciting. As Cayman kind of teased, he didn't say anything big, but we kind of know where JK Games 2.0 is headed, and I'm very excited. And I'm excited for the audience to learn about it. So Monday will be very exciting because Monday you're going to kind of talk about like in a reveal, right?
Yeah. We'll talk through it and have you in there
So
because we want to hear your thoughts too.
yeah,
So
for sure. So that's going to be 9 Central. No. Yes.
No.
9 Central.
8 Central.
8 Central, 9 Eastern.
9.
Right.
Yes.
Twitch.tv/JK Games Podcast. Hell
yes.
Yeah. Dropandropapod.com. That's where you got to go for other things, whether it's Spella Games, Cognitive Clips, GWT Mori, Jake Twitchin with his
all of us
fundraising right now for a new PC. Is that every? Yeah, that's everybody. That's everybody. Yeah. Dropandropapod.com. Join the Discord. Thanks for being here. We had a great chat today. I shout out to some folks that I didn't mention. We had some bits from Bama Bruh. We also got a subscription from Heroic Headgear, which we love to see. Relegated Fame gave us a follow, and then I did recognize the raid from a Silly Duck. But the Nerdlies also gave us a shout out to his community. So shout out Nerdlies. we will be back next Thursday for a fun episode that we're still cooking on. Which if you join the Discord, you're going to know what that is early next week. Where you're going to be signing things in, or sending things in rather. But if you're friends with coal mines, you might have a good idea of what we're doing next week as a little hint for the topic of next week. But thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Keep your eye out on twitch.tv/JKGamesPodcast. I wonder if Jake is streaming currently. He said he was going to stream. Maybe we can go join him over there. I don't think he is right now. So instead, the Nerdly shouted us out. Let's go back over to the Nerdlies.
Let's go.
But we will see you guys next week, if not later, on JK Games. So until then, bye-bye.